and an important article which is very good, having a very important points for multiple papers in the mains examination and also for the prelims of the next year. So the article is titled A White Touch to a Refreshed Green Revolution. So in this article, the author Arun Maira, who was a planning commission member, has discussed the differences between the Green Revolution and White Revolution. So I will give you the inputs provided by the author and also my valuable inputs so that you can add them in your mains answers. So let's start. So the author is saying, first we will start with the differences. The author has mentioned that the purpose of the Green Revolution and the White Revolution. The Green Revolution's purpose was to increase the output of the agriculture in order to prevent the shortages of the food. So if you see, during the 1960s and the early 1970s, there was a huge shortage of the food, and so the Indira Gandhi government has introduced the Green Revolution with large scale subsidies and MSP and irrigation canals and all. So the purpose was to increase the output of the agriculture and to prevent the shortages of the food. There is nothing wrong, okay? And the White Revolution was to increase the income of the small farmers in Gujarat. That is, Green Revolution, it was started as a technical experiment, scientific experiment, and it also started, both the things started at a local level. Okay, I am adding my inputs here that Green Revolution was started in Punjab and in Andhra Pradesh, that is coastal areas of southern India, especially in Andhra and Tamil Nadu. So, and we will discuss detail about Green Revolution. Okay, so the objective is to increase the output of the agriculture and to prevent the shortages of the food, which is a very good objective. And the White Revolution is to increase the income of the small farmers in Gujarat. Okay, yes. Here it is restricted only to a local specific region. So that is, here my inputs is it is indigenous and it is a localized solutions. They have adopted the localized solutions. Even if you take the practices of the Amul and all the cooperative movement of the milk, that is White Revolution, to other places of India, they have adopted the localized solutions there itself. That's why it is very successful. This is what author wants to express here. And it is a small scale experiment restricted to the resources coming from the specific region. And it's the focus and the vision was inclusive growth. And here the female partition was also very much important in the White Revolution. Okay, when compared to Green Revolution, the participation of the females and inclusive growth and a small scale experiment and a localizer solution and indigenous methods, all these things are missing in the Green Revolution, though the objective of increasing the agricultural produce has been achieved. Okay, though the objective is visionary and highly valuable, but the methodologies were but the methods that were adopted and the procedures were adopted were different. So that is why there was a large scale uh, difference in the output also. So that, and the enterprise type, Green Revolution, it is a technocrat enterprise. And whether, however, when it is coming to White Revolution, it is a socio-economic enterprise because the income of the small farmers, whatever, however much they will produce, whatever category they belong, the increase the income. However, in the Green Revolution, it is a technocrat enterprise. So the other inputs like scientific and the principles of efficiency were given. So technocrat enterprise means large scale dams were needed and irrigation and chemical fertilizers and high technology was also needed at that time. So it's a technical enterprise. So the efficiency was also given high priority, and workers were considered as a means of production here. And the focus was on productivity and removing the workers or replacing the workers with machines is one of the key management practices in the corporate style, so in order to achieve the productivity. So these things, though the objective was very great, but the management principles were corporate style. So the objective of bringing income to the farmers was missing. The objective of increasing the production has been achieved, and it also been achieved. But farmers' life has not been changed because the management principles were of corporate level, the enterprise level. The profit was the intention. However, when coming to the white revolution, the socio-economic enterprise and the movement has risen from the political leaders and the principle of equality. The political leaders like Sardar Vallabhai Patel and other leaders of the Gujarat at that time, their intentions was to inclusive growth, that is participation of the people at the ground level, irrespective of gender, and everyone should become the owner of an organization. Rather than profit motive, they focused on the equity. Everyone should get the income according to their work, according to their hard work, according to the participation. So in this way, everybody competed with everybody and everybody got prosperity. This is the concept. But and the vision of increasing farmers' income is, so the vision was increasing farmers' income. Here the vision was to increase the productivity, irrespective of whether he is a farmer or an enterprise. But those were in green revolution. But enterprises like big farmers, landlords will have huge resources, especially coming to the land and other natural resources and other financial resources. They got benefited in the green revolution because of MSP. But small farmers having small lands, they didn't get benefited. And this is the reason for the rising poverty levels in India, especially at the poor farmers level, and so much of dependence of India and lack of and unable to migrate to other industrial sectors. And created coming to white revolution, it is created for the sake of the farmers, and they are owned by the farmers. Especially if you see, it is one of the principles of the directive principles added in the 44th Constitutional Amendment of 1978. You can comment on the directive principle number in the comment section, or I will discuss in the another video. I will explain that in the next video. So, and it is a socio-economic oriented, and the main principle of the Korean was make in India. Even it was almost in 5 decades back, it was make in India approach and indigenous solution and the can-do solution. The attitude was can do, we can do, we Indians can do that, can achieve this. And we can focus on the indigenous solutions. Though he was an engineer who studied in the America, but his approach was indigenous solution oriented approach. But in the coming to green revolution, we were influenced by the foreign experts and the chemical fertilizers like nitrogen, urea, and all the experiments. These were taken from the European methodologies. Not sorry, not European. Of course, yeah, it came from the Europe and other countries and North America and all. However, it was foreign experts influenced. We are influenced. So the keywords that we can take from this thing is make in India, can do, and innovation of the Indian engineers in order to quote an essay and other main GS papers. And coming to other things, how success was achieved in the Green Revolution. The scientific, how success was achieved in the Green Revolution, scientific breakthroughs plus economies of scale. That is, increasing the scale of production through scientific breakthroughs, through large construction of dams, canals, and fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, high input of fertilizers, especially if we consider, I am giving the keywords, valuable keywords, which you can use in essay and other papers. Chemical fertilizers, large scale, low cost irrigation facilities, large dams and irrigation systems, and monocropping, that is diversification in agricultural systems has been missing in the green revolution. We have focused on the monocropping because we can apply large and huge amount of fertilizers in order to increase the output of the agriculture, so that the factories, the factories which are associated with the farms, they can also increase their efficiency. If the multiple crops are being produced, it will be difficult and cropping seasons, there are a lot of complexities which are existing, which is good for the people, which is good for the nutrition level of the human beings and the society, but for the production levels, for the increase, for focus is economies through scale, this was missing. And okay, avoid a diversion of the land for the others. So because of this, we in green revolution has avoided the diversion of land to other non-essential crops. And application of inputs in foreign nature, and farms have become factories producing large volumes of output, and eliminated the diversity of the produce. This is important. Eliminated diversity of produce to remove complexity, and food nutrition was missed. Coming to the right revolution, the governance to achieve the equity was at the foreground. That is, everyone should become wealthy, and the benefit is to the farmers. That is, equity is the fundamental principle behind the governance of the cooperative methodologies behind a white revolution. And the efficiency was at the background. What is efficiency? The quality of the work, indigenous sources, and the local feed. These are the principles. Local feed, indigenous sources, indigenous people, local community participation. So the enterprise has become a part of the community and not governed on the community. It is a part of the community. Community is an enterprise in green white revolution, whereas in green revolution, the enterprise is controlling the resources of the community. So it has failed in creating wealth of the farmers. So you can quote these kind of statements. So what are the solutions to increase the farmers' income? So the author is suggesting we need to have fundamental changes in the economics and the management sciences. He's saying why? Because in order to achieve the reverse degradation of the natural resources and to achieve the sustainable development and economic growth, which is inclusive growth. So he's saying that if we change the fundamental changes, like if we focus on fundamental changes in economics and management sciences, we can achieve sustainable development and economic growth, which is nothing but an inclusive growth, which has been proven and shown in the white revolution. And the guidelines here is, we will take this in another video. Okay, in order to make this video huge, I will stop here, and guidelines will be given in the next video. Thank you so much.